Good evening. You're watching Point Blank here at KTN News, and we're shooting from the Nairobi Serena. Of course, Christmas is imminent in the week to come, and so here at Point Blank at KTN News, we wish you happy holidays in advance. As this year comes to an end, 2019, it has been the year where everybody's crying jobs, 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 and it looks like everybody in this country wants the government to solve all the problems.
According to a World Bank report released mid this year, Kenya has to create at least 900,000 jobs annually for the next decade in order to absorb the high number of youth joining the job market. Who will employ the projected 9 million youth, particularly given that the unemployment rate currently stands at 9.3%, according to the Kenya Economic Survey 2019? Who can solve this burgeoning crisis? Will it be the government or the private sector, or both working hand in hand?
Good evening. You're watching Point Blank here at KTN News. Where are the solutions in solving the problems in this country? Where are the problems in giving hope and giving people opportunities? Every time you hear a leader in this country speak, they talk about free education, free medical, free, hata ukiwa mzee, everything is free. Is this country going in the wrong direction, that government gives everything out?
What are the solutions to the high levels of unemployment? And can there be a reconfiguration from low quality to high quality jobs in Kenya? As the Jubilee administration stems on with large-scale infrastructure projects such as the standard gauge rail SGR, which according to President Uhuru Kenyatta is a vital component for the realization of the Kenya Vision 2030, the Big Four agenda and our quest to spread the fruits of our prosperity to every corner of our republic. On the ground, there is increased apathy and delusionment, particularly by the youth, who call for a here and now solution, a quick fix to redundancies and joblessness. The clergy too has weighed in. According to the African Inland Church Bishop Silas Yego, there are solutions, and the government is not the end-all fix to the crisis.
Kwa sasa wanataka kazi. Kila mwanasiasa akikuja baada ya miaka mitano wanasema tutaajiri vijana, vijana munisikize. Hakuna serikali itaajiri watu nusu ya population ya nchi yake. Kwa hiyo market for these young people who are hard workers in this country. And Mr. President, sir, look at them with both your eyes and see how we can help them. Another way is also opening, helping them to know how to save money. They are getting money and they use it for daily living. Let's help them to know that when they get 10 shillings, 5 shillings saving, 5 shillings for the use for the home. And then the government will come in.
Good evening. You're watching Point Blank here at KTN News. To resolve all these issues, Point Blank has looked far and wide. And here tonight, to give us a different perspective, is the president of the Kenya National Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Mr. Richard Ngatia. But before I speak to Mr. Richard Ngatia, what has he been doing since he was sworn in there at the Bomas of Kenya on June the 8th, 2019?
Following his election as the president of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Richard Ngatia promised to be more proactive, more visionary, and transparent in delivering on the expectation of the chamber's membership.
Having been duly elected, the Chamber President, do solemnly swear that I will at all times obey, respect, and uphold the memorandum and articles of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
And uphold the memorandum and articles of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Among the key areas identified by Ngatia for immediate action were increased membership and strengthening of all 47 chapters.
International private enterprise. We have embarked on the phase 2 of the Center of Excellence
and which holds Embu, Uasin Gishu, and Mombasa counties, which aims at transforming county chamber chapters into newly developing and sustainable chapters through providing a standardized and quality service to all KNCCI members. I do appreciate SAIP for the partnership, and I believe that the Center of Excellence will enable the emerging of strong chapters with remarkable governance that can spearhead improvement in counties' business environment, enhance networking, and improved information channels for better decision making.
At his first meeting as chamber president, Ngatia discussed with the Democratic Republic of Congo ambassador on the opportunities available to Kenyans, particularly in regards to timber products.
Encourage Kenyans in business to take the advantage and that opportunity that there's plenty of wood. And we are aware that the government of Kenya has waived taxes and, of course, tariffs on raw materials that are imported. And therefore, it would be important for us to take that opportunity to, for example, buy either materials from Congo, buy wood from Congo, and the effect will be that we are also saving our environment, we are saving our forests as we look at getting the wood from other countries like DRC.
As part of improving service delivery for the chamber members, Ngatia took advantage of the state visit by Botswana President Mokwetsi Masisi in July this year to raise the issue of work permits and increased market access to the Southern African state.
We request that both the private sector of Kenya and Botswana, there is need to privatize, one, the Kenya Meat Commission and Botswana Meat Commission, so that we can be able to engage as the private sector. Support market information intelligence, gathering on market access in Botswana and Kenya. Share information on food certification standards which investors can consider to increase market access to Botswana.
Of particular concern to the KNCCI members has been financial inclusion, especially for women in business, access to affordable funding, be it from the government-sponsored funds or from private sector, has yet to be actualized, with many hurdles on the way.
The Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, through the model known as Know Your Customer, KYC, and that entails that you do not need to have collateral as long as we know you, we have done due diligence on you, you have support letters from those you're doing business with, and we as the chamber are going to support you on that front.
At a forum attended by Cabinet Secretary for Trade and Industrialization, Peter Munya, Ngatia asked both national and county governments to settle pending bills that had derailed economic growth and job creation.
We have had issues, and I think this is what has been hurting the economy, because there's no flow of money in our system, because most of the businesses have not been paid. And therefore, since we are here, Your Excellency the Governor, it is important also we lead by example by paying those SMEs, businesses who have conducted business with you, so that we can say Kiambu has already paid. Today we know that the government has paid about 10.8 billion. This was the pending bills from them. But again, His Excellency, and we really thank him, he has instructed that 38 billion should be released immediately. And if we can be able to pay each and everyone without holding their money, I am telling you, this problem will end immediately.
On coffee, the chamber has led spirited campaigns in the counties for Kenya's Arabica coffee, reputed to be one of the best in the world, to be branded. This will in turn see farmers, particularly the smallholder farmers, receive better pay for their produce.
We were very impressed with what has been put up and what we saw. The manufacturing plant, the processing plant of coffee, because what today we are saying, and the other day we discussed when we went for a roundtable at State House with the European Union, we requested that they also make sure that our coffee is Kenya branded coffee. And in this case, Embu branded coffee.
Ngatia's Kenyan success has been recognized with his election as chairman of the General Assembly of the Great Lakes Region Private Sector Forum. He's expected to enhance regional trade integration in addition to unveiling a new vision for the 9-county member forum.
We will serve the region to make sure that there is integration, there is trade between the region as well, to see how we can be able to eradicate poverty through trade, to make sure that our borders are secure through trade, and to make sure we provide adequate market for our business community. And of course, we have to make sure that we have programs that can be able to support the youth and the startups in terms of skill transfer. So those exchange programs will be very vital, and we can also use the university institutions because they have proper structures where we can also utilize and partner with them.
Broadening the opportunity outlook, KNCCI has signed an MOU with Tunisia on transferring skills and knowledge from the North African nations' well-established textile and clothing industries to Kenya, which according to Ngatia has the potential to spur economic growth. Most recent, Ngatia spoke on behalf of 78 countries at the African, Caribbean and Pacific Group of States ACP Summit held in Nairobi. He expressed confidence and through promotion of manufacturing and industrial development, more income would be generated through new economic activities, through new economic opportunities, particularly in the manufacturing and industrialization sectors, and more importantly, hundreds of thousands of new jobs.
On behalf of the ACP Private Sector Forum, we had a 3-day consultative dialogue with the representatives of private sector. The following are the recommendations in various thematic areas. 1. Youth employment and enterprise development. We propose the following. ACP governments and states need to develop and promote national skills, strategies and programs for the future of workforce through TVET forums and strengthen networking, dialogue and cooperation among policymakers and training institutions. Promote public-private partnerships where to possible expand cost-effective active labor market measures. Encourage employers to continue or expand quality apprenticeship and internship program.
Good evening. You're watching Point Blank here at KTN. But karibu sana.
Thank you very much, TG.
Welcome. Karibu sana. Mr. Ngatia, jobs. Everybody's crying. Kila mtu analia.
Thank you, Point Blank. But let me first of all just remind you that there was a Great Depression in the US, and the President Roosevelt then called for a New Deal and said people must get back to work. And for me, I'm here to tell you that we here in Kenya must get back to work, must get solutions, and must implement what we are supposed to talk today. Thank you.
Now, here you are. You were sworn in. Uko kwa ofisi. You are in the office. What is going on? Give me your bird's eye view. You are in the chamber. You are the president running business in Kenya. What is going on, and what have you been focusing on? Do you have a vision? Is it there? Do you have momentum? Is it there? What have you been up to, Richard Ngatia?
First of all, let me put everything very clear and to the perspective and say that my first priority was to make sure that our structures are put in place. We have corporate governance, and it's just good also to inform you that I do have a chamber vice president, one, namely Dr. Eric Ruto, a very competent person. But under the provision, under the Memorandum of Articles, there's also a provision that I have a prerogative of assigning a second chamber president. And therefore, what I did immediately, I was given the mantle, is to appoint, co-opt a second chamber vice president, namely Fatma El Mawi. Now, I want to say that even before we got
we got anywhere. I decided that I must, first of all, partner with organizations that will come and, put us into, moving. And therefore, I got people, namely BAF, that is Business Advocacy Fund. I spoke to SIPE, the Center of International Private Enterprises, just to come and make sure that, first of all my directors, all the board directors, the secretariat, CEO, must understand the definition of the chamber. And at point blank, let me say that today I'm here to share with you the 100 days of my time and the achievements. And I have come, actually, I've put them down for you. So when you have some free time, you'll go through. But I'm going to just briefly highlight what is in this book of 100 days.
Mr. Ngatia, this is a reporting office, 100 days. Can Kenyans get it online, or how would people access this information?
Actually, I'll get to that. People can be able to get
But
online.
this is your 100.
These are the 100 days.
Umeleta report.
Yeah. Do you remember the last time I was here? I was not the president, yes. I was waiting, a waiting president. Yeah. Now I can authoritatively tell you that the chamber is vibrant, the chamber is more visible, the chamber has pulled in many, many partners, and also those.
Let us start there. You know, Richard, in terms of making a decision to run for the chamber, you came with a vision that you stayed, and you made it clear when you were here at Point Blank. You have a vision. And you had a vision that, put at the core small enterprise, small business. You had at the core the reform at the chamber as the best business practices that would make the chamber efficient, accessible to the public. So before we go further in the interview, I just want to find out, when you entered the office from day one, what were the immediate challenges you found, Mr. Ngatia, and how did you firefight those challenges? And if you could pinpoint one or two of the problem areas you tackled first, which would you say was the first one?
The challenges, first of all, was within, within the National Governing Council. That means in every 47 chapters, we had challenges. Some of the chapters didn't have offices, office equipment, a place to work. The environment was not conducive for our chapters, for our National Governing Council. And within the headquarters also, there were many challenges. Other challenges that faced us was partners. Most of them had actually moved away from us. And those who are there, really, were not very cooperative by that time. But let me say that it is important to note that when I was a chairman of Nairobi chapter, things were very different than now, Tony, because I was dealing with a very smaller population then, and I had all the time. I had all the time. I could do my own personal business.
That's important.
Yes.
To say, because as chapter chairman of Nairobi, yes, you didn't have the same workload.
No. You see, I'm dealing with a very smaller population. Yeah. I'm dealing with only Nairobi. And of course, I had the secretariat, I had the CEO, and therefore, I could be able to delegate. Today, let me tell you, the attention is about the chamber president. What can the chamber president deliver? What can we be able to do? I hardly sleep, TG, I must tell you that, because mine is to make sure that we deliver, one, to the public, two, to the private sector, to our members, and of course, to the organization.
Chamber President, because this is Point Blank, yes, I want to take you back to the challenges. And let me start by coining an example. First of all, your challenge was revenue. I remember, Mr. Ngatia, you were very passionate. When you came here and you were elected, you told me that you are assured that you're going to not be in the red. When umechukua chamber, you're going to put it in the black. So one of the challenges you must have faced when you went to the chamber is revenue. Is the chamber still on a crippled stance? Is the chamber in the black?
That was my priority area. If you remember my 6 pillars, I said that I'm going to work with development partners and in terms of advocacy. Now, I have, with my team, we have been able to attract as many development partners as possible. Now, these partners, they are those that are, they're coming to support us, both in, finance, they're coming to support us, technical support as well, and over and above that, we now have the county governments under the Council of Governors. We have been able to work very closely with the county governments. And over and above that, and most important, is the national government that has come in to work with us very closely. And I must commend and I must thank Ministry of Trade and Cooperatives led by Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya. They have worked very, very closely with us. They have supported us. I also want to thank and recognize the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because under the diplomatic,
Economic
economic
they call it these days.
desk, then we are able to get numerous support during trade missions, both locally and regionally and internationally, through Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So with those two ministries, really, they are really
But as I want to talk to you more about economic diplomacy and your cooperation with government and the ease of government regulations. But I want to bring you back to the black book or black or red in terms of finances of the chamber. You couldn't run the operations of the chamber. Your main source of income is the certificate of origin. The chamber was doing badly in terms of meeting its obligations with employees, its rent, etc. You promised at KNCCI at the launch of your manifesto and when you took office that you would sort that out. 100 days later, my question to you point blank is, what are the state of the accounts of the chamber? Are you in the red or in the black, Mr. Ngatia? You are evading the question.
I'm not evading the question. But let me just also tell you that the certificate of origin, remember at the point they were being earned by 3 counties or 4 counties. But what I have done, and we have sat with the board and agreed that there's going to be a cost sharing of certificates of origin. Then, I mean, the revenue was about 1.5 million per month. Today, Tony, I can be able to tell you it is 4.7 million, which translates to about 56 million shillings a year. And what I've done is to make sure that we distribute equally to all chapters. So all chapters will be able to get something to sustain their offices, to sustain their businesses, and to pay office rent. And that is a continuous process. So that is going to start from January. And that has been discussed and passed by the National Governing Council itself.
Oh, so the financial dire straits of the chamber, are you saying will be done by next year? You would be comfortable with?
We are comfortable because, like I said earlier, we are also getting a lot of support from partners who are coming in. Remember, also under the mobilization of members, we are also getting very many members and recruitments that we're doing. And therefore, each member, in fact, I can be able to tell you that we are getting so many patron members. A patron member pays between 1 million shillings and above. And we are getting as many. We are getting banks joining us as patron members. We are getting the corporates joining us as patron members. And we have a big number of SMEs also, and companies joining us at the level of 300,000, 500,000, 100,000.
So Ngatia, would you say you can give a positive message? Because people only invest where they have confidence. Can you say 100 years down the road, 100 days down the road, that there has been economic, or can I say financial stability at the chamber, which had been eluded for years, so that we move on? Would you say now that people are not only coming in, but the books are balanced?
That's what I want to tell you, that yes, books are balanced. We are working very closely with the Kenya Revenue Authority as well. They have been able to support us, to support our people on bookkeeping within the chapters as well. We have been able to sustain all the chapters, like I'm saying. And this also gives a lot of motivation to people. Remember, we as the chamber president, the National Governing Council, they're not on a payroll. It's voluntary. That is what you must understand. But of course, we must earn some revenue to pay the secretariat who are there working day and night.
So Mr. Ngatia, you are elected on the premise that you have immense social capital, that through your business networks, through your experience as a businessman and your relations with the government of the day, the chamber would benefit. I'm asking this to understand one of your other challenges was to make more membership available to different spheres. You say the top have joined, the patron members. Are Mwananchi joining? Are small businesses also joining? And are you happy with the recruitment drive? And as a president of the chamber, do you go out to recruit? And how is that going?
Yes, Tony, I told you that I spent sleepless nights This is because I work from county to county to make sure that I sensitize members, I talk to individuals, I talk to companies, and just to make them understand the value of joining a chamber. The impact that we have created so far is immense. I'll tell you, from a number of about 1,700 members, it rose to 12,700. It has risen to 20,000. But I want to remind you that under the 20,000 members, we also have associations. We have associations like the Jua Kali sector. These are the small traders. There are 7.1 million of them, but they come in under one association. We have the Boda Association, right? We have the nurses. We have, so many associations. We have PERAC. This is restaurants and pubs and entertainment joints. These are many associations joining us, but as one. So if you quantify all the number of people, we are over 1 million. We are over hundreds of thousands of members.
Mr. Ngatia, another thing you had, and this is point blank, you had undertaken is that you would not be a president in Nairobi of the chamber. You undertook to be uko kwa mashinani. You told me you'll be going to the chapters. You'll be going to the counties. In these 100 days, where have you been?
As we speak now, Tony, for me, I've come from Meru, speaking to the small traders, speaking to the Jua Kali people out there, giving them hope. I've come from there. It is hardly 20 minutes since I walked in your studio. I have been able to collectively put together, for example, if it is the Central Block, I've put them together in an expo. They have come to showcase their products. We have come to unlock.
I don't want to interrupt
potential.
you, but I want, namely, give me some counties you've been and what have you done there. And I want you to be specific because they are watching you. Which counties, which chapters?
For example, I've been to. Yes, I have been to Narok the other day. Narok, we mobilized more than 3,000 people in Narok. This was, actually it is this month, we were there in Narok. I have gone to Kirinyaga, where we mobilized more than 7,000 people. We had a 2-day symposium, okay, on cultural events, on how we can be able to sensitize them, how we can be able to educate them on capacity building. From there, I have gone to Meru. I've gone to Embu. Embu, we worked very closely with the governor to see how we can be able to go to all the sectors within Embu, name it factories, tea factories, macadamia factories. I went to the small traders. I went to universities where also we signed MOUs to make sure that also the students who are there can also get opportunities available in the private sector as they leave the universities. I've moved from there. I've been to the coastal region again. From coastal region, I've been to western region. Right now, as we are speaking, I'm supposed to be, I think on 19th, I'm going to Trans Nzoia. And therefore, the schedule is very tight for me, and I'm moving every day to every region, to every county, to every chapter.
Mr. Ngatia, the reason that this economy is on its knees is because your predecessors, or when the chamber was not able to connect with Kenya, it was the reliance on the old cash crops, coffee and tea. And the economy has been bleeding because of lack of new things. When I researched this program, I saw a lot of opportunities. I saw opportunities are in the blue economy. I saw there are opportunities even in exporting wildlife and livestock to countries in the Middle East, etc. But your chamber has done nothing. I cannot say that you've done anything to take advantage of these begging opportunities. How are you going to transform the chamber from the archaic to the new? Are you going to be a .com president? And if so...
I want to disagree with you. I want to disagree with you and correct you and tell you that under partnerships, under MOUs that we have signed, for example, with Oman, we have signed with the Oman Chamber, we have signed with the private sector as well, to see how they can support people when it comes to livestock, for example. And in partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture and the Department of Vets, we are trying to see how can we be able to get areas that are quarantined, that are disease-free areas, because I want to tell you, in the Middle East, in Oman itself, they buy 1.2 million goats. And these goats, they are getting them from Somalia. They are getting them from Sudan and other areas within that region. But there are many goats that are coming from Isiolo, from Wajir, and they're all being transported to these countries. Why? Because we are not able to put our livestock within the quarantined areas. And therefore, what we're doing under the MOU and partnership is to see how we can be able to have these areas within Isiolo, within Wajir, within Marsabit, within Mombasa, Nairobi.
What assurances, Mr. Ngatia, can you give farmers or herdsmen or pastoralists looking, for example, after goats, you say, when can you give them, when can you give them the timeline?
We are saying we have already moved in. We are already looking at areas that will be able to benefit.
The hygienic conditions.
Yes, they will come. They will be able to be capacity built first and foremost. And be, when you're capacity built, the problems that we face is that those people working in quarantined areas are still the same people working overnight in another factory or elsewhere. So they keep moving, and therefore there's a lot of contamination. So we are saying that once you get the opportunity to work in that quarantined areas, you'll have a certain period of time that you must be there to work there so that we also observe hygiene.
Are you confirming that Qatar government or the buyers, they want to buy, Oman, you're saying, they want to buy the goods from
I
Kenya?
am confirming that they are buying from Kenya, but through other countries. But they are coming, they have come already to Kenya. We have signed the MOUs. I personally have gone to several areas to also sensitize them that they must be ready.
Have you been to Northeastern?
Yes, I have been to Northeastern. I have been to and I'm going back again now. With the Ministry of Agriculture through the vet department, we have agreed now we are going to work together, we are going to work together so that they can also support us as we put those areas. We are also looking at working very closely with the government as well. Now, in terms of economic diplomacy, again, you talked about blue economy. What we want to do is we are looking at many countries that we have signed with, including Madagascar, including other regions as well, who are very rich in terms of the blue economy. We are also looking at how we can be able to get support from them.
But the French government have been very vocal on the blue economy as well.
French government, yes. In fact, 2 months ago, I was in Paris on this second Ambition Africa. I was there, we have discussed, we have signed an MOU with them to make sure that they also come and support the SMEs and most importantly within the blue economy. We are also saying we have the seamen, we have the fishermen, we want them to be capacity built. We want to transport labor as well. We want them to come and get people from Mombasa, for example. Through there's a university there that is, capacity building the seamen. We want them to be capacity built. We want them to be given opportunities in other countries as well so that we, as we export labor. Look at fish. We want also to explore what is in Mombasa ocean, what is in our lakes. We want them to come here and we explore, other than just saying it's tourism to come and just go around the ocean. So there are many areas that we can look at in terms of blue economy.
Well, you're watching Point Blank here at KT News. The president of the chamber, Richard Ngatia, says they are looking beyond the traditional cash crops of coffee and tea. They are looking at the blue economy. He says they are looking at livestock as an export in the Middle East, and that they want to make sure that they expand care to avoid disease or quarantine the areas where livestock and so on is grown in terms of capacity building. He says that the chamber is supporting the chapters by making sure that revenue of the certificate of origin is shared across the counties of the country. You're watching KTN News.